democracy. We are your lobbyists, your voice here in Sacramento. Today is the day when we celebrate the power of the people.
Yes!
Yes. We, the people, together can make California a place with justice and fairness for all. We, the people, fight for the rights of every single California, and we fight to make equal rights a reality in the everyday lives of every person in this state.
Yeah!
The bills we are lobbying today are about justice and fairness for all. Together we are fighting to end the money bail system. Together we are fighting to make police accountable. Together we are fighting to end police violence. I want to welcome to the stage our first speaker and one of our great champions for bail reform. Now, usually we have to work hard to get legislators to carry our bills, but not with this one.
All right.
Assemblymember Bonta came forward 2 years ago and said, I want to champion the end of the corrupt and evil money bail system in this state. And he has fought hard. I think people don't realize how low and dirty this fight has been at times. He has been attacked on social media. He has been attacked in person. What the bail industry will do, there are no limits. And so please, please give a very warm welcome to this person who is fighting for justice for all Californians.
We're on to you today.
Assemblymember Bonta.
Good morning. Thank you, Natash, for that kind introduction. You guys pumped up to be here? I was about to jump into that dance party that was happening up here. That looked like fun. A lot of great energy. First of all, thank you for being here. Anyone here from San Diego? All right, San Diego's in the house. Los Angeles? All right, Central Valley? You guys are coming from everywhere. How about the Bay? All right, and I gotta say it. How about Oakland? Is Oakland in the house? Oakland's here. All right, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Where is the Antelope Valley here? Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, and I know why you're here. Are you here to create more justice and equity? Are you here to create more opportunity and inclusion? That's why we're here, and we're here fighting together. And you know, as I know, that we have a fundamentally broken money bail system. A money bail system that punishes poor people simply for being poor, that criminalizes poverty, and that judges individuals and makes decisions on their liberty based on the size of their wallet, not the size of their risk. Is that wrong? Yes. That is totally wrong and fundamentally wrong. And we know that there's a better way, that there's a fairer way, there's a safer way, there's a more humane way, there's a more compassionate way. And we proposed that in SB 10 and AB 42. And those bills are moving. These are on 2-year cycles. And right now, these bills are closer to getting passed and signed than ever before. And it's because of you. So thank you. Thank you. We've gained tremendous momentum along the way. We have courts issuing decisions saying the money bail system is fundamentally broken. It needs to be fixed. It can't continue the way it is. We have the Chief Justice, Tani Kantil Sakauye, issuing a report saying that the money bail system is broken and must be reformed. We have the Attorney General, Javier Becerra, saying that it needs to be fixed and changed. We have the governor committed to fix our broken money bail system. We have legislators who weren't yet ready last year to support money bail reform who are ready this year. And the reason for that is because of you. So thank you. We've come a long way. We've built momentum. We're on the precipice. We're closer than ever before. So when you go in today and meet with legislators, let them know how you feel. Tell your stories. Share your passion and your commitment. Because this is something that's going to get done together. It's going to be done with what I call the inside-outside game, with legislators on the inside championing this critical reform, and you on the outside, the people, rising up, making your voices heard, and being loud to make sure that we work together to get this done. So are we going to get this done together? Yeah! Are you ready to fight for money bail reform? Yeah! You ready to win? Yeah! I am too. Proud to fight with you. Thank you.
let's hear it for Assemblymember Bonta. One more time. We are here at the ACLU Lobby Day, but we don't do this work alone by any means. We work with many great coalition partners, and I want to invite up now one of the leaders of a coalition, of an organization that we work with extremely closely, PICO, California. Please welcome Reverend Kalyn Dean. Somebody say it with me. I believe that we will win.
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 Good morning, guys. My name is Reverend Kalyn Dean, and I'm with PICO, California. We are the largest, clap it up for my organization. We are the largest multiracial, faith-based community organizing network in the state. We represent 73 cities connected to 480 interfaith congregations and representing 450,000 families and growing. We are so proud to stand here with the ACLU in partnership, and we're so proud to sponsor or co-sponsor SB 1421. I'd like to start off by thanking Senator Nancy Skinner for her leadership in putting forth such an important piece of legislation for all Californians. But this bill is most important to families who have lost loved ones to officers or to officer-involved shootings. Families who, under the current law, are left to search for answers while they grieve. The current law that allows police departments to withhold important information relating to their investigations on police shootings and other excessive use of misconduct, it further traumatizes them, extending the grieving process. It is immoral to keep our families and communities in the dark who have already endured the pain of losing a loved one. SB 1421 shines a light on police misconduct, providing them with the answers that they deserve. California families who have lost loved ones to police violence, like the families of Stephon Clark, Oscar Grant, Shalene Tyndall, Alex Nieto, Richard Pere Perez, Cesar Cruz, and the families of Antonio Guzman Lopez, just to name a few. They deserve answers. They deserve answers. By opening up police misconduct and excessive use of force records to the public, SB 1421 will bring about increased police transparency and accountability, which is a necessary step to improve police-community relations and increase overall police legitimacy. For too long, California police departments have been able to hide behind a veil of secrecy, advocating for keeping records of misconduct private due to not wanting to overemphasize or sensationalize police officer misconduct. That is frankly out of touch, and we won't stand for it any longer. Enough is enough. We stand with the ACLU today to make it clear to Sacramento that our communities will no longer stand for the wall of secrecy that the police continue to hide behind. The public has a fundamental right to know, and we're looking forward to SB 1421 restoring that right. Thank you.
All right, one more time for Reverend Dean in PICO, California. Now I would like to invite up a true warrior for justice. Assemblymember and Dr. Shirley Weber is the voice of consciousness in this assembly. Dr. Weber speaks. We all stop and listen, and if anyone has the ear of God, it is Dr. Shirley Weber.
Thank you, and welcome to the Capitol. I'm honored to be here with you and to hopefully be your voice on the floor of the Assembly and in this Capitol. This has been a very emotional weekend for my staff and for me in terms of AB 931, because this is the right thing to do. And yet they have gotten some blowback and some challenges, not only from the public, but also from our own members here in this House, who most of us think are our friends and should be on this bill with us. What are we asking for in AB 931? We're asking simply that lethal force should not be used unless it is absolutely necessary. Unless someone is in imminent danger. And if they're not, then our very trained and competent police officers should seek other methods in order to solve the problem. This is not something so strange, it's not something radical. It is what they do in every other community other than ours. They seek answers to bring to somehow or another a peaceful solution where our officers are protected and our public is protected. And that's all we're asking in AB 931. We're asking for justice. We're asking for good policing, and we're asking to protect not only our officers, but also the public, and to bring a peaceful and safe solution to sometimes difficult situations. And so that's what AB 931 is. It's reasonable. After years of struggling, and after all of us have heard so many stories about what needs to happen, and so many of us as mothers and fathers have trained our sons and our daughters on how to react. Don't move. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Don't do anything strange. Be cooperative. Be just everything that you could possibly imagine. We have done that. And so when people say we should teach our children how to act around police, we have done that. And then we've still seen the negative results. And so this is a reasonable bill to a difficult situation. But it's what happens every day in this nation, in other communities other than ours. I feel like Fannie Hamer, who says, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick of the names being called. I'm sick of us reading a list of those who've been hurt and injured. I'm sick and tired of having my colleagues and others tell me how sad it is and yet do very little to bring justice to our communities. And I think our community is tired of once again lingering on and on, wondering, will we have the courage? Will we have the desire to move forward and to bring change? I want to challenge you today to not only to be here for this moment, but for the long haul that we know will happen. You know what happened when we did AB 953? You were here for the long haul, all the way to the signing of the document 3 weeks after it left the floor of the Assembly by the governor. And we're still fighting that and making sure that that brings some justice to our communities. That we have a journey to basically move forward, to make sure that people get the correct information about what AB 931 is really all about, and to continue to move forward that's there. Some folks say I'm courageous. I'm not courageous. My father was courageous when he left with the Klans in Hope, Arkansas. He was a man with a vision, and he was courageous because his life was being threatened. But he taught me the importance of standing tall and standing straight, and realizing that this life only matters when you work to help others make their life matter also. And so we are committed to bringing justice and equality to this nation. We're committed to making sure that we can stop what is happening that is so unjust and so unfair in our communities. And yes, it will take the efforts and prayers and opportunities and work of each and every one of us. But we can do this if we do it together, if we do it collectively, and we do it with a focus upon making sure that it is what is right and what is just for every community. I always say that I was listening to an African proverb that said, when you get to heaven, that when you meet the Maker, he's gonna, what is he gonna say to you? He's gonna say, roll up your sleeves and let me see your arms. And he'll look at them and he says, where are your wounds? Where are your cuts? And if you don't have any, he's gonna say, wasn't there something in life worth fighting for? And I tell people, I remember that because I'm sure I'm gonna be chopped up when I get there. I'm gonna be able to show all the wounds for myself and generations to come. But in the end, we will know that this life was worth fighting for, and so is AB 931. Thank you so very much for being here.
That is not loud enough. I want to hear greater. I think we sometimes don't realize how hard it is to be the lonely voice for justice in this building. Dr. Weber gets attacked for standing for what's right, and we need to make clear that we have her back. of police violence is as old as this country, and people have been fighting it for literally centuries. There is one movement that brought that awareness to the whole world, the Black Lives Matter movement. And we are honored to have Sonia from the Black Lives Matter movement here today to show her support and the movement's support for this important package of police bills. Welcome her up.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm standing here today in front of you representing Black Lives Matter Sacramento, our chapter founder, Tanya Faison. My name's Sonia Lewis, and I take this challenge, this responsibility for our community personally. I am the mother of 6 Black boys, and I've had to have that conversation. As a chapter lead in the Sacramento Black Lives Matter chapter, we fight every day for justice for those who are brutally attacked and terrorized in targeted communities across this state, in particular this county, by law enforcement. We are living in a time where the dirt of law enforcement is on public display. Even though we've always lived historically with the dirty reality that terrorism by law enforcement on targeted communities, highly represented by folks with Black and brown skin. With that being said, we as a community have to demand change simultaneously at the city, at the county, at the state, and at the federal levels. Today we are at a crossroads. While Stephon Clark is the latest tragedy of murder by cop, there are so many others like him, but not limited to Dejan Flannone of Sacramento, Oscar Grant of Oakland, Kelly Thomas of Fullerton, just to name a few, right? Accountability and transparency are the latest buzzwords in the building of trust and fostering equity for all community members, especially those who have been oppressed by state-sanctioned violence. The state approves law enforcement to kill us. AB 931 and SB 1421 are intentional and well-crafted attempts to impose safety nets to protect the communities from those who have been given the power to police over those with less power. Thus, it is important that we seriously look at the crafting of legislation that makes accountability and transparency a reality for everyone. AB 931 looks at the use of excessive force, in particular lethal and deadly force. It challenges the notion that one can presume a threat and therefore justifiably act with deadly force, and it's accepted as an excuse to dismiss the fact that it has been okay for cops to murder certain segments of our society. I am here to say no more is it acceptable for cops to murder us and for the state to say it's okay. We will challenge the dynamics of policing with legislation and ordinances, along with the community-led commissions and boards who have power to investigate, who have power to subpoena, who have power to make recommendations to law enforcement departments across this state. It is the time for the community to serve. We can no longer be guided by legislation that was written all the way back in 1872. In California, the reality is police kill more people than in any other state in this union. Thus, it is important to recognize the need to develop higher standards, adopt best practices, police with de-escalation in mind, etc., because the end result should be killing and abusing fewer people. The update of use of force policy in AB 931, coupled with the culpability and transparency policy offered in SB 1421, can affect the way police interact with the community and public more responsibly. To further explain the clear and present danger of state-sanctioned violence, know that our police shoot and use excessive force on Black people 3 times more than our white counterparts. Blacks make up 6.5% of California's population, which is approximately 40 million residents. Blacks as well are more likely to be pulled over and subjected to traffic stops at higher frequencies. Here in Sacramento County, the state's capital, dating back to 2015, this fight has been personal for Black Lives Matter Sacramento. There have been 14 specific incidences of excessive force and murder by cop that we readily know of and is a representation of violence on the Black community. We have to make these changes so that the list that includes Adrian Ludd, Dejon Flanone, Trish Hill, Joseph Mann, Jason King, Armani Lee, Lorenzo Cruz, Desmond Phillips, Nandi Kane, Ryan Ellis, Michael McIntyre, James Nelson, Zatira Abrahams, and now Stephon Clark does not continue to grow. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. The tragedy of state-sanctioned violence continues to traumatize the Black community at the hands of law enforcement. This reality is further exacerbated by paid administrative leave, Policemen's Bill of Rights that place police lives above all other citizen lives. Police are often given medals for killing Black bodies, and it's disguised as valor, and monetary settlements with taxpayer dollars are paid out to families. Collectively, we can effectively shift the paradigm of what it means to actually protect and serve while actually valuing all life. Just around the corner, there's a celebration, a memorial for victims who violently die at the hands of other citizens. I'd like to challenge those on the panel over there to include victims who are murdered and abused by our law enforcement. Just around the corner, our DA here in Sacramento County is being given an award for her work when it comes to victims' rights, survivors, their families. But she's forgetting about the victims of police brutality and police violence. We have to hold her to the rug. Her job is to prosecute. Her job is to indict. So we stand with the ACLU, we stand with PICO, we stand with the NAACP when it comes to ending state-sanctioned violence in this state. Thank you.
Sonia Lewis, Black Lives Matter, let's hear it. In the last year, we have seen a renewed awakening of activism in this country, and one of the leaders of the new movement of resistance is a group called Indivisible. Who's here from Indivisible? Yeah. All right, well, let's welcome one of their community leaders, Jiggy, Athilingam. Is everybody excited to go into this building? I'm so thrilled that you all are here today on the capital of the most populous state in this country to exercise your constituent power in reforming our broken police and criminal justice system. How many people here got activated after the Trump election? It is absolutely beautiful to see so many new activists organizing at levels unseen in recent history. People are fired up and ready to engage in our local communities to make the change that we want to see in California. But we must acknowledge that this fight is not new, even if we are new to it. Our Black and brown communities have been fighting for justice for decades, for centuries. Because social justice in our communities of color is a fight for families, it is a fight for the right to live and the right to survive. Today we are here to fight in the memory of all of the countless people of color that have been murdered or locked behind bars and subject to the torture of our criminal justice system. We are here to tell our lawmakers enough murder. We are here to tell them enough of our broken money bail systems. We are here to tell them enough secrecy, enough weapons of war flooding into the hands of those who are supposed to protect and serve. We are here to tell our lawmakers that our communities are under danger with our current policies and that we, as constituents, demand change. Democracy means government by the people.
while there is a trash fire happening in the federal government, with a president who is openly racist, homophobic, xenophobic, misogynist, we have the opportunity here in California to provide a progressive alternative. We can make history by passing some of the most progressive policing policy that this nation has seen. We can show the nation what people power can do. So when I say people, you say power. People.
Power.
People.
Power.
People.
Power.
People.
Power.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jiggy and Indivisible. I want to also thank the legislators who are the authors of the bills we are lobbying on who weren't able to join us this morning. They tried very hard, but didn't make it because of a travel consideration. So Senator Nancy Skinner, who is the author of SB 1421, the transparency bill. Can we hear a round of applause for her? And Senator Bob Hertzberg, our champion on SB 10 for bail reform. All right, that wraps up our rally. I think, was Raquel going to come and lead us out with some chants? Is Raquel here? While we're looking for Raquel, let me say again, please tip the band over here, right? Who loves the band? Hey, if you love the band, dig into your wallets and help the band. Okay, so let's have Raquel come and close it out for us.
Something is coming. Something is rising. Something is coming. And something is rising. It is called the Poor People's Campaign. Look to come, look to follow, look to lead. God bless you in this day that holds for justice.
That's right, thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. We want to make sure that everybody hears us, all right? So, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey. Louder, louder. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Money bill has got to go. Thanks so much, everybody. All right, so again, yes, please remember to tip the band. I think they have some merch we can buy too. Show them some love. And then the only other thing we need to do is take a picture together. So if folks could come, we're gonna set up in the front, in front of the chairs right here, and then take a picture together. All right? Thank you so much for being here. Love and appreciate all of you.